it's fascinating to see this whole process unraveling as a celebration because India is a dance universe. It has thousands of dance forms and 8 classical dance forms, which each of it has its own very rich aesthetics. I have been blessed to be a student of the visual arts and ancient history, which helped me to enjoy this rich art, architecture, aesthetics, and then also come to learn the traditional Indian performing art of Odissi. I'm very blessed, like Soumya has mentioned, for the past 25 years I have imbibed a very rich aesthetic of Odissi in the Guru Surendranath Jaina style from my Guru, Guru Pratibha Jaina Singh in New Delhi. This led to a much deeper immersion into art, nature, emotions, all the beautiful themes of Indian classical dance. And it led to my first book in 2017 called The Poetic Sari. In The Poetic Sari, I unravel my emotions and my ideas with poems. So I call them dance poems. The Poetic Sari is a book of dance poems. And today is the beautiful moment where the book has a sister. And the sister is Nritya Katha, a book of dance stories. But Nritya Katha, or meaning dance story, didn't just come from nowhere. Something happened to me as a person, and that caused the change to bring this book. What was it? I became a mother. Because being a mother was the biggest transformation for me as a dancer. Suddenly, I was not content with just doing more performances and adding that to my CV. Suddenly, I was thinking more, I was wanting more, or maybe I had become a child again. So I had more questions, I had more thoughts, I wanted to see things in a different way. I was taking my children to so many workshops. Today, both of them are here today, they are 13 and 16, but 10 years back, it was a different time. And we were seeing dance workshops, art workshops, music workshops, but nothing to do with classical dance. And I thought, why don't we have workshops in which we can introduce, just give them a taste of the different aesthetics of our dances. And that's why I made workshops like Mum, Me and Odissi, which you do with your parent, as a family. And that's why I made Discover India, in which we talk of different seasons that we experience. We have 6 seasons in India, and how every season brings its festivals, its own, color and magic, and the dances are connected to that. So that was my journey of doing workshops. I was seeing so many children doing things with these, children of all age groups, my own children, reading them stories at night. Like most moms, I would read to them some stories. And because we traveled a lot, we collected books. And I would find that I have books on ballet, storybooks on ballet to read to them. I would have storybooks on flamenco. I would have storybooks even on Balinese dance. But then I thought, why don't we have, storybooks to read to my children, for Indian classical dance? And we have 8 classical dances. I mean, it's no joke, in the world, India is like a dance capital of the world, in my opinion, because 8 of these dances are so rich in aesthetics, so complex, so beautiful. And the color and the drama is definitely worth putting together into storybooks and bringing that to our children. And that's what was the genesis of Nritya Katha. And then I started with 5 stories, and then it added up. There were 9 stories. And I looked for publishers, and I would say that the book finds its home. So it was the National Book Trust of India, which found great relevance in bringing this book to children, and they agreed to publish it. Yet, in the pandemic years, again, we worked on developing 3 dimensions to the book. So literally, it became 3-dimensional, because my stories are nothing for a child unless and until there are beautiful illustrations and there is a design that brings the book to the child. So in the pandemic years, again, we worked on that, and with Natalia Suruba, who's a fantastic illustrator from Moldova, entirely online. We worked over many months to develop the illustrations, and for every Indian dance form like Manipuri or Bharatnatyam, we went to and fro. We would discuss our references, our ideas, and I would say, okay, this is the dance form, this is how it feels, develop it. And then she would work on that, and sometimes I would say, no, 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 this is not okay. The mudra needs to be correct, or the footwork needs to be different. So then she would work on that, and hats off to that, as you would see in this illustration as well, that she has really done a beautiful job in bringing out a very Indian aesthetic of rich color, rich detail from the child's eye in mind. And at the same time, she has brought it a very international appeal. And then the third dimension was yet to be figured out, so we worked further on that. And the designer, Swati Chakravarti, a very experienced book designer in Mumbai, then worked on the design. And there she brought about the idea of how to make the illustrations flow from one page to the other, how to make the words highlighted, how some places the words are there in beautiful illustrations like a moon. They're not only text and illustration separate. She wove it together into a beautiful cinematic experience. And that's the power of a fantastic designer. And that's why the book is really a lot of hard work at 3 different dimensions, literally to make it 3-dimensional with stories, illustration, and design, so that this book is really meaningful for the child who picks it up to read. And the National Book Trust of India has been incredible at printing a fabulous book with a most competitive price, at which I think it's almost a marvel in the world. And it should be reaching into the villages, small towns, the absolute heart of India, all the places, as well as all over the world where Indian culture lovers want to experience the book. So that is how the journey of the book came through. And I would like to read to you a little bit from the book. Although all the stories have my heart in them, but the story I would like to read to you is called Kathakali in Kerala. And Kathakali in Kerala is particularly dear because this actually happened. So the excerpt that I'm reading is from a trip that we made to Kerala, and where my children got to see the very beautiful dance form of Kathakali and a story unraveled, and how they experienced it really motivated me to weave that into the feelings of the child in the story. So Krishna and Lola are the characters of the story, and Krishna or Lola, along with their parents, are getting ready for a performance. They're going to see this performance of Kathakali. Krishna and Lola got ready in the evening and went with Mummy and Papa to a place that looked like a temple courtyard. There in front of them were men painting their faces and tying many pieces of cloth. Lola was fascinated. Who were they? The dancers were letting the audience see how they put on their costume and their spectacular makeup. Lola loved makeup. She loved watching Mummy get ready too. The Kathakali dancers' makeup was even more colorful. One of them had a green face. Another was bright orange. And the third one's face was black. Their lips were surrounded by red paint and the eyes were surrounded by black circles. Krishna was curious about the beard of each dancer. Was this sparkling white beard real? No. It certainly didn't look like hair. Mummy said it was chutti, the white makeup made of paper, which was glued to the dancer's face. Then the dancers began to help each other create these huge frilly half skirts. One person helped arrange many pieces of cloth upon a long string and created ruffles. On top of these ruffles, they tied a long layer of skirt, so the skirt had so much flare and it stuck out on all sides. On top of this, the Kathakali dancers wore their multicolored costumes. Suddenly, a curtain was held by 2 men behind the dancers and the audience, and the music started in the glow of a glowing lamp. Krishna and Lola couldn't wait to see how the Kathakali dancers would look in full costume and headgear. Papa told them that Kathakali dance was full of drama and storytelling through face gestures and hand gestures called mudras. Exciting stuff. Today, the Kathakali dancers told the story of Jayanta and Nakratundi. Nakratundi was a demoness who saw the beautiful god Jayanta and wanted to marry him. She disguised herself as a beautiful girl and tried to entice him. When Jayanta refused, she came back to her horrific form and attacked him. A huge fight followed, and Jayanta cut off her nose to teach her a lesson. But how did this unravel? The curtain was removed, and the dancer with black makeup came on stage as the demoness Nakratundi. She had long nails and a scary face, all black and blue. Little Lola was terrified of her and started crying. She thought this was a real demoness. Mummy and Papa assured her it was only the dancer dressed as Nakratundi and not the real demoness. Lola looked on as another dancer in green makeup came in as Jayanta. The demoness went away and came back as a pretty woman. This pretty dancer was in orange makeup and girly clothes. She fluttered her eyes sideways, and Lola liked her much more than the scary Nakratundi. But Papa told her this was the scary Nakratundi, only in disguise. This girly Nakratundi tried all kinds of gestures and movements to lure Jayanta, but nothing worked, and she went away. Then, to Lola's dismay, the scary version of her was back. Then started a dramatic battle between Jayanta and Nakratundi, which thrilled Krishna. With terrifying movements and thunderous music, the two characters fought a fierce battle, a battle of green versus black. There it struck Krishna that green must be the Kathakali code for good men and black for the evil characters. As the dance came to a climax, Krishna and Lola watched spellbound, fascinated by all the color and drama as the story came alive in front of their eyes. In the end, as Jayanta cut off Nakratundi's nose, Krishna and Lola watched Nakratundi yell in pain. It was the victory of good over evil. The dance ended and everyone clapped. And Lola and Krishna clapped the loudest. They went back and thanked Mariamma for sending them to such a fun performance. So that was a little excerpt from our book and from the story Kathakali in Kerala. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to capture the heart of every little child in different stories. I've tried to write stories in which their characters are boys, not only girls. A boy in a village of Mahabalipuram, a boy in a modern city of Bengaluru, and they all try out the different flavors of Indian classical dance. I hope I have been true to the beauty of our young children. So they're so amazing. They can see so many things. They have so many ideas, and they can see how technology meets culture. They can understand so much of depth and feeling of art and architecture. And I definitely feel that that's something worth going for. So all of the stories are illustrating that. I hope you all enjoy that. And today we are very happy to have ma'am in our midst, and we would like to proceed with the book release. Soumya.